Welcome, everyone. We are excited to have you here. I'm your host, Natalia, and thank you for taking the time to join us today as we will talk about what's next for NFTs. Before we begin, to make sure we are helping you as best as we can in today's session, we have a chat box to source your questions. So feel free to type them into the chat box. We'll answer your questions by the end of each session, or the moderator will collect the questions so we can answer them for you at the end of the presentation. Also, don't worry about making notes immediately since we'll send the session's recording your way as soon as possible after the webinar. Let's take a moment to introduce our three amazing guest speakers. First, we have Berwin Sanko, the founder of Ekta.io. Berwin specializes in developing companies and ventures to unlock their true value and potential. After a successful career in the US and China, Berwin started Equilibria Capital, a property fund and development company in Indonesia. Ekta is the culmination of his background and the 12 years he has spent in Indonesia. Next, we have Adrian Niculescu. Adrian is the CEO of Meta Studio, a virtual world where one can develop meaningful interactions, build a business, and play to earn. He brings decades of experience and knowledge, sharing his experience in building and developing companies. He is also known as an entrepreneur and investor. Last but not least, we have Harry Bangrens. Harry is the founder, chairman, and CTO of Blocksmith. The company aims to decentralize power and mobility by providing a seamless global mobility alliance. He has many years of experience applying software and technology to business needs. Fun facts, Harry also received a PhD from Tokyo University and fluency in 6 languages. So I want to thank you to our speakers for taking the time to share their knowledge and expertise. Our topic is about the future of NFTs, and we're really excited to share what we know with you. We will look beyond the hype and research the fundamentals. You will be able to take a deep dive into NFT concepts and technologies. And now, without further ado, please welcome Mr. Johan Verhul, the CEO of It's the Virus, as the moderator for today's webinar. Let's start.
Thank you, Leah, for this great introduction. Thank you for all the speakers who have made the time to join this webinar, and thank you for all the participants who join in. I will make sure that this is definitely going to be worth your time, because we have, again, 3 super interesting speakers who tackle this issue from a totally different angle. So I'm really looking forward to hear their perspective. And I would just like to get started straight away to Berwin. To anyone who is listening, feel free to ask questions, and maybe I will interrupt Berwin freely during during his presentation, just to make sure that it's more or less an interactive session. Berwin, the floor is all yours.
Hi, yes, thanks for having me. Just a little bit of an intro about myself. My background was, I started off in tech in the 90s. I had the .com payment processing system, which was fortunately bought out by a .com consulting company that was able to list in the NASDAQ. So I was able to do a good exit in the late 90s. And then since then, from 2000 till present day, actually, I've been a property developer. During the pandemic, I was living in Bali. I've been living in Bali for 13 years. And due to the pandemic, everything shut down, the world shut down. So I had to shut down my hotels and close my some of the property development project. So what I did is I started to study about blockchain technologies, read 200 white papers, and was able to pivot my business and launch my own chain called Ekta. Ekta means unity and integrity. So what we do in Ekta is we are layer 1 blockchain that bridges the physical world to Web3. And what we try to do is tokenize illiquid assets such as real estate. So since today we're talking about NFTs, I won't really go into what we do in our layer 1, but I will just talk about NFTs a little bit. So since the topic today is what's next for NFTs, especially after this bear cycle, and when everything has crashed and most of NFT projects have turned to zero, I want to talk about ECTA NFT, which is the world's first asset-backed integrated NFT marketplace. As you know, in January, we saw unique buyers of NFTs grow to almost 1 million. And the average price of an NFT was $666. I think at that time, Ethereum was around 4,000. So today, $666 is around half an Ethereum. NFT sales was totaling around $4.5 billion. And back then, I think some of them are still the leaders till today. They're all basically PFP projects. So what you know and see here is like the Bored Apes, Mutant Apes, Azuki, Ebits, and CryptoPunks. But as you see, these are all PFPs. They don't really have utility and value. And a lot of the projects since then have disappeared. And a lot of people just brag about their community, but to tell you honestly, there's not a lot of value in there. So what's an NFT? What's an ECTA NFT? What we do is we're more than a pixelated GIF. So ECTA NFT focuses on NFT projects with utility backed by assets. NFTs like real estate, carbon units, luxury lifestyle products, identity, digital rights to music, movies, tickets, sporting events. And what our marketplace has is basically a built-in dApp. So there's no additional development needed. We also have a bridge because ECTA Chain is a layer 1 blockchain that has a bridge to BSC and Ethereum. So we also have an NFT bridge backed by multi-chain. We have staking functions for our NFT. We call it NFT 2.0 and DeFi 2.0. We also have fiat on-ramps. So we have 12 major currencies in Asia and Australia, including US, Euro, and the pound. And you don't need to code to be able to start your collection. However, our NFT marketplace is highly curated since we focus mainly on 4 areas: the real estate, lifestyle, gaming, and identity-based NFTs. The reason why I put gaming here is because in ECTA Chain, we have our own game called MetaTrees. It's a metaverse tree planting game that supports and helps plant trees and save the environment. And the NFTs here actually have embedded carbon credits that go to preserving forests. And we also plant trees in the real world. But the main focus here today that I want to talk about is real estate NFTs. What we do here is we really tokenize real world assets, and our NFTs are backed by assets, which means most of them are real estate and fractional real estate NFTs. What we have off the bat when we launch are villas. So a little thing to talk about the global real estate market. It's actually the biggest market in the world. It's valued at over $300 trillion. It's bigger than financial instrument like debt securities and equities. It's a lot bigger than the global GDP. I think three to four times more, and it's way bigger than the gold market. So one of the first projects we're launching on our marketplace is our own island. So ECTA Island is the world's first DGen island for Web3 enthusiasts and communities. What we have here is a value of $300 million worth of NFTs. We have $100 million worth of membership NFTs and $200 million worth of property NFTs. What the membership NFTs give you is actually access to our island and an entire ecosystem. We have a gamified rev share system here so that we don't fall into securities. So what we have here is a middle layer, which is a property management company that allows you to gamify the ownership of your property. And it's actually you that will be able to do your sweeping the floor, cleaning the windows and all of that. And so you get rewards for doing that. But actually it's a rev share for everything you see in the island. So what the island has are 81 luxury beachfront villas, 350 honeycomb pods on the hill used for student housing. We have a blockchain school, a 3-hectare mega museum, just like the Museum of the Future in Dubai, which is an NFT museum as well. We have a 1-hectare health and wellness center, complete edible landscaping with fruit and vegetable and herb trees and garden. We have 285 berth marina, a yacht club and a beach club, and a meta trees park. This is where we actually plant the trees in the real world from our metaverse game. So yeah, all of these will be NFT'd and will be traded in our NFT marketplace. That is the horizontal version of our property NFT. This is the vertical version. We have a tower in Kuala Lumpur next to the Petronas Twin Tower. It's also valued at $300 million, and 100 million are for memberships and 200 million for property. It's basically the same version as the island. We will have membership NFTs. There's also the blockchain school. What we have here different additionally is the data mining center. We have, of course, because we have the school, it attracts a lot of talent, and there will be unicorns that will come out of it. So we always have the incubator and accelerator. So you have student housing, you have the apartments for the incubator accelerator program. We have the whale club and the BC club, and all the other facilities. And of course, all of these will be NFT. And as you know, all these NFTs are backed by assets. Another feature we have in our NFT marketplace that a lot of the current marketplaces like OpenSea and Rarible and Magic Eden doesn't have is we have a cross-chain bridge. We have a built-in DApp. Our commissions are a lot lower than the other marketplace. It's backed by physical assets. We have a utility token here. So you need the ACTA token to be able to mint the NFTs. We have staking rewards. All of the NFT projects are curated so that we avoid scams. It's on chain. We have a fiat on ramp, and we're carbon neutral. Another thing is our NFT marketplace actually has an NFT to it. So if you purchase this NFTs, it's also tied to the revenue share of our NFT marketplace. It's kind of like YieldFi, like what GMX is doing. And so it's currently minting right now under our website called endorse.ecta.io. So it's selling really well. It's almost sold out. And another thing, some features from it is it's quite simple. It's when you purchase the fractional revenue share NFT, it is tied to the ACTA NFT marketplace. And basically, if you have that NFT in your wallet through smart contract, we will monthly distribute the revenue and the rewards to your wallet. And you can also trade these NFTs in our NFT marketplace. Another interesting NFT we have, which is tied to utility and value, is our ACTA portal. So this is more fun. So people kind of like DGens kind of get it because it's a PFP, which is this robot. It's actually currently minting in our website called portal.ecta.io. You can get more info there as well. So what we have here is, because we're a layer 1 blockchain, when you mint this NFT, we actually ship you a physical node. As you know, nodes are the foundation for our chain, and we have 10,000 nodes that will be distributed worldwide, which means by helping us manage our nodes, we will reward you ACTA tokens daily for the next 10 years. And what you get as well is access to our entire ecosystem and into our island NFTs and real estate NFTs. And in return, ACTA will become more secured and more decentralized. And so it's a win-win for both the consumer and us as a chain. So yeah, that's it for me today. I hope this was interesting for all of you.
Super interesting, Baron. I have a question regarding the legal aspects of the project. Obviously, I think you had that question many times before, but can you explain to me the legal relationship between the digital asset and the physical asset, and how did you solve that issue, and do the games play a role in this?
Yeah, so let's go to real estate first. So each property is tied to its own DAO. So the DAOs serve as the investment. So in the DAOs are like the investors for each property. So it's actually not a single investor. And also there's a gamification aspect in the middle, which is owned by the property management company. So indirectly, we don't fall under the Howey test. The property is not directly owned by the NFT holder. The NFT holder actually owns the property management company, which is tied to real estate. So it breaks the chain there. And then it becomes a utility token, not a security token. For one-off properties, just like you saw in the news the last few days, there was a house sold in OpenSea. That is considered a security. We have two kinds of tokens in our marketplace. One is the utility token, one is the security token. So the security tokens, of course, will are tied to our partnership with securitize.io. Each of those will have a private placement memorandum.
Okay. Okay, so for great to hear you have that relationship with Securitize. I wasn't aware, but obviously that solves many of these issues, because then you're just fully compliant.
Correct.
Okay. I have an interesting question from Francesco coming in. So on what basis is ECTA carbon neutral?
Yes, so we have carbon offsets for our games and also for our chain. We have partnerships with Carbon Market Exchange, which tokenize carbon credits. So carbon credits are quite expensive to offset. You need to purchase them by metric tons. So we fractionalize these carbon credits and embed them in our NFTs, so they're offset during the mint.
Okay, and I'm intrigued by the device that you've shared in the last slide. I understood it's like basically it functions like an end node to the platform, right? So I can retrieve data from it without pressuring the ecosystem. Is it correct?
Yes, correct. One thing good about it, first of all, we're the first layer 1 blockchain to ever do this. And secondly, yes, when the node is closer to you, the network is less pressured, and it's it's an endpoint node, and you basically it's really simple to use. You just plug it on your wall, connect to Wi-Fi, and your wallet, and you start. As long as it's running uptime 95% a day, you are rewarded our ECTA token into your wallet for the next 10 years.
Okay, and do you make these devices yourself? How does it work?
Yes, we do.
Okay.
It's we're proud to say it's made in Bali. It was designed and built by the one of the devs that created MetaMask.
Okay, and inside is just a Raspberry Pi.
Yes, it's a Raspberry Pi that's configured in a shell that looks like an ECTA box, with our colors black and red.
All right, super nice.
Which is great, because when you upgrade it, if you upgrade the memory, you can also mine other tokens like Ethereum. You can use it for mesh network. So in our real estate marketplace, all the real estate that's listed in our marketplace, in our ecosystem, will have the portal as well. So each of your homes will start generating income that way as well.
Okay. Yeah, okay. So it actually does some validation for the entire network as well. It's not only just a copy. Okay, yeah. Interesting. And so what is next for ECTA? Can you already give us like a sneak preview for what's next in the coming months?
Yeah, so Portal is happening now. It's the gateway. The reason why we call it Portal is it's the gateway to our ecosystem, into our property marketplace, and into our island. So what's next is our NFT marketplace is in staging. There's actually some collections doing pre-sales right now. Next is I'm launching a decentralized Airbnb app to connect to our NFT real estate marketplace. I'm announcing that in Malaysia next week, because we're also announcing our tower and also it's a short stay.
So we already had a nice premiere here.
Yeah, you're getting some alpha here because I'm announcing it next week in front of Airbnb, Booking.com, and Agoda.com. We have a conference, a short stay conference next week, and I just wanna bridge Web 2 to Web 3. So I'm trying to do all these things in real estate and travel, so that we can get more users into our space. As you know, the crypto space is very tiny, and the NFT space is even tinier. So we need to get these mass adoption.
Basically, it's just a few thousand people on the world programming this shit, but having a really big impact. There's an interesting question, I think. So what's the impact of the recession on the NFT industry? And especially when it comes to real estate, right? There's like a lot of things happening in the world. And people say that there is also a downturn just around the corner for the real estate market. What's your perception on this? Can it accelerate the adoption of what you are doing, or will it also be a danger of both, maybe?
I think the downturn is really, really good for us. People start to realize that these PFPs with no utility and value are going to be a thing of the past. As you know, Terra Luna collapsed as well. These algorithmic stable coins and these protocols without any asset backing it will not survive in the next bull cycle. It's going to be asset backed NFTs and protocols. It's been really good for us. I call it actually stablecoin plus our real estate NFTs, because these NFTs are stable and goes up in value every year and then earns you rewards every month. And these are rewards that are coming from real income, not just from a VC putting more money and you're using that money to pay 8% to 20% per annum.
Definitely more. It's definitely more future proof and a way better investment, in my humble opinion. I'm not giving an advice compared to the speculative market, of course. But what I'm thinking is, like, we've seen a similar movement back in 2018 when we had also a pretty interesting crash in the beginning of that year, and then we saw also a reflex of the market where we say, hey, instead of having just super speculative things happening, what we're going to do is we're going to tokenize assets. But yet, a few years later, here we are again. And this whole speculative element also brings so much excitement and new money to the industry that we can, of course, use for the good and build this awesome stuff with. Right? So what's your take on this? Are we now further, or will things repeat again?
I think a lot of people in the space have learned what happened before, and I think gone are the days of those 1000x in a few months. I enjoyed it. DeFi summer was great. You had the DAOs, Olympus DAO and Wonderland Money giving you 1000% APR. I think those are gone are those days. I think it's going to be more. People need to accept the fact that the growth won't be as much as that. There will still be hundreds x growth, but there's going to be regulation coming soon, and we can't avoid that. And here in ECTA, what we're trying to do is to follow regulation, and if it's a security token, it's a security token, and we just follow the rules. And if it doesn't give you 1000x, it's fine. At least we're stable, and we're here for the long run.
That's I think indeed on the long run, that is also how we built this domain, right? One last question: what is the most unique utility you've seen connected to an NFT? I mean, there have been some pretty random stuff.
I remember those cyber kongs back then. Those were quite funny, like the banana tokens. They were giving you bananas when you stake those cyber kongs. That was quite funny. I actually had it was just really fun back then. So I mean, back then I thought that was unique, but of course it's not sustainable.
Yeah. Yeah, I've seen also a like back in 2015 or 16 even there was a whale somewhere, like fake whale in a harbor in Holland, and each time you paid 1 Ethereum, because Ethereum was just not worth anything, it just splashed. People are super creative. That's one thing for sure. I would like to go to the next speaker, if that's okay to you. Maybe you want to share some last words, Baron.
Yeah, I'd just like to, you know what, my last words is, I just want to, for people that are first time in NFTs and all of this, it's full of scams out there. A lot of people like copy your pages, and you just have to make sure you verify properly from the trusted sites and from the actual site and the actual Discord. So yeah, just be very careful
That's
of
good one.
scams.
Be careful. Yeah, I can relate to the fake pages and fake profiles. Probably there are also 1,000 versions of you on Telegram.
Yes, we do. We try to catch them every day. We catch a few every day.
Yeah.
In Telegram, Twitter, Discord, everywhere.
Yeah.
They just change the letter a little bit. Instead of ECTA, they do ETCA, or capital, like like a K, instead of a K and R or a T, they put like, I don't know, an I, or they're very tricky. So just be very careful. Don't click any links.
No.
And never give your seed phrase to anyone.
No, please don't.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you very much, Baron. Thank you for the insights and your presentation.
Thank you.
I hope to see you in Bali anytime soon as well. Let's catch up.
Yes, definitely.
Right.
Thank you.
Cool. Thank you very much. I would like to go to the next speaker. Adrian, the floor is yours. Maybe start with a small introduction, and I'm really looking forward to hear your perspective on what's going on in this market.
Thank you very much, Joachim, for the introduction. Actually, we know each other since 2018, by the way. And
I saw it in my messages. I was like, yeah, damn, I really know him for a long time.
Yes, and we've reconnected like a couple of months ago, and this was actually the trigger for me being here. Before introducing myself, I want to thank you and congratulating you for the education element you are doing. It's an investment of time and resources to educate the market, but I believe that the education is the most important thing which will drive the adoption to this market, will lower the impact of scams, and will bring more trust to this young but very exciting industry. I will share my screen while I will introduce myself. I'm Edu Niculescu. I'm a Romanian entrepreneur and investor. I'm involved in blockchain since 2016. I'm a sales, marketing, and business development guy. And I'm in core teams in a few projects. The youngest of them is the Meta Studio, where I'm leading the team from the CEO position. Also, I'm an advisor in more than 10 companies in the blockchain space, ranging from startups to NASDAQ listed company. And I help them with sales, marketing, and business development. Also, because I'm involved in this industry for about 5 years, I've developed step by step a service business, I would say. We have initially it was a Web 2.0 marketing agency called Mushbloom. Is based in London, and it transitioned to Web 3. As said, is a 10 years old marketing agency, and we have also CoinCruncher, which is a media outlet. It was started in 2018. This year we did the first conference, Bitcoin Bucharest, in Bucharest, which was a very nice concept to put Romania on the blockchain map. And I see myself as a contributor in this space. So I'm a little piece in this big machine of educating the market, of advancing the industry. And I trust that we can do a lot of good if we develop in an ethical way what we are doing. I'm speaking also at a lot of events around the world. Until the end of the year, I will speak at many events in Dubai. We'll speak in Lisbon, in London, and in Malta. And the most recent event was last Friday in London. I spoke about investment in the Web3 at a very, I would say, savvy and qualified audience, mainly made up of VCs and family offices. And today, I would like to share a few ideas based on my practical experience in this space about the future of NFTs. And of course, we had the JPEGs, we had the hype, we had anything. But if we look at the Web3 as a whole industry compared to Web2, the username and password, which was and still is in the Web2 world, is replaced in the Web3 world by a wallet, which could be MetaMask or else, or an NFT. So it will be very important for a large chunk of the NFT market purchasing a certain NFT, what kind of access to what will give you once you are the owner of that NFT. And this will be a very, very important aspect. And let's say if you have an educational platform, you can say, okay, if you purchase this NFT, you will have access, I don't know, lifetime access, or for 1 year or 5 years to everything we are putting here. So automatically it will be a no-brainer to own that NFT. Next, we people like to collect stuff in the real world. We collect vintage things, autographs, many elements, right? In the virtual world, it's much easier if you collect a certain NFT to show it to everybody on your phone, or you put it as a profile. One of the very interesting things, I don't agree with it, but if you look at many VCs and high-profile investors on LinkedIn, for example, like business-to-business network, instead of a nice a business profile, maybe, I don't know, with tie or at least a business casual look, they put an NFT. And it's, let's say, if it's an NFT which is known worth $50,000 or $100,000, you transmit something that, okay, I'm owning a $100,000 NFT, so I'm using it as an avatar, or it's like it's a vanity thing. So one of the areas where I see the future of NFTs is in the real collectible potential of them, not just some random JPEGs which are generated, or a video which could be also viewed for free by anybody on YouTube. The really real collectible potential. And due to the digitalization, especially the new generations, they prefer to buy some NFTs or digital collectibles instead of putting a down payment for their house. It's something which is related to how people are behaving, you know. And the third one, which was also discussed in Berwin's presentation, NFTs backed by assets. And slowly is developing a new class of assets called NFAs, non-fungible assets, where there is a very tight connection between the actual NFT and the asset backing that NFT. And this will be very available, for example, in the content creation world, when you can link the NFT with the copyright of the work which is backing the NFT. And of course, we have the world of digitalizing the commodities, real estate assets, and other assets, actually. So if you ask me, these are the three directions which will drive the adoption of the NFTs. And we have also what is called the metaverse. And I would like also to add here a few ideas about it. First, how I see the metaverse. It's a new medium of expression, exactly like the internet was in the 90s. And because people are using it, it will become part of our DNA, as internet became part of our DNA, and will grow by being used by people, and will evolve in many ways we don't even have a clue about right now. And of course, NFTs are part of this new universe called the metaverse, and somehow they will work in parallel, the NFTs and the metaverse. And of course, you will be able to create your own avatars in the metaverse. And it will be very important because many metaverses will be built if they will be interoperable. For example, in the Meta Studio, the project I'm leading right now, this will be a metaverse for content creators, allowing them to monetize their work in the Web3. By the way, it's a huge transition right now from Web 2.0 to Web 3.0. And the transaction of the creative works, of the outputs, will be done to NFTs. So basically, they will upload in the platform their creations, and they will be transformed into NFTs, and they will be traded. And there's a very big and bold promise for the content creators that they will receive 100% of their incomes, which is different from the Web 2.0 platforms having a lot of commissions. And this is one of the biggest pains of the content creators, besides, of course, not owning their content and having a lot of abuses from the platforms. So here they will get 100%. And of course, where the platform will also make an income will be a small transaction fee on the trading of these NFTs, because we believe that the future of the metaverse is the business metaverse. All these platforms, they have to become financially sustainable. And of course, to counteract any abuses, it will have Meta Studio a DAO-like structure, which will be a real DAO. So the content creators would be able to involve in the strategic decisions. As a closing thought to this presentation, we are still in the very early stages of decentralization, because, for example, if you look at any platform, maybe is decentralized the way the platform is governed, either as a DAO or through a simple governance, which is not quite a DAO. But all these platforms, they are backed by venture capital looking for profits and return on investment. So there is a strategy from founders behind any platform. Also, there is a sales and marketing team or a support team for the business elements, and also all these platforms, they have a technical team for software development and other things. So when you say that it's 100% decentralized, I said we are still in the very, very early stages of decentralization. So it's not quite like that. Maybe if we have some questions to take some, my advice to all the viewers right now is to continue educate themselves. This is the most important element, and of course to be with the skin on the game. You know, if they want to involve in a project, to do it. You know, because we can only improve what we are doing, not we are thinking of doing. So please, Joachim.
Yeah, thanks for your presentation, all your thoughts, and Adrian. I have a number of questions by myself, because I heard you also mentioning the word DAO, and Baron also mentions this. And like 1 or 2 years ago, I had a lengthy discussion with someone who is deep in the space, and he also already mentioned like what's next is going to be DAOs, and it always sticked in my mind. And of course, that's the only way forward for us to build a fully decentralized ecosystem, right? So there are so many projects, but there's just little decentralized governance at the moment. So it's interesting that you guys are also moving in that direction. And another thought I had was, when it comes to what's next in terms of metaverse and NFTs, that's definitely going to be in the DNA of the young kids growing up now, because my kids are on Roblox, and they use Roblox Studio to program their own game. They invite their friends from all over the world to collaborate, to continue to build their game, and they're talking and building at the same time, and then playing together. So basically, they already have like a metaverse, and they have a DAO together, and they work together on building digital assets. Right? It's and they're like nine years old. So it's crazy where it's going to. I have a question, Adrian. So there is this, and Baron also mentioned this. There is this tendency to say, "Damn, this speculative domain is bad." But it also brought us a lot of good things, especially when it comes to adoption. Things get really interesting when you can make a lot of money. So there's like, it's a double-edged sword. What is your take on this?
You know, we are wired for shortcuts. So everybody wants to make more money very fast, if it's possible. And no matter how many warnings, how many signs, there will always be a project which will be promoted as being the next big thing, where people will only look at potential returns, will not manage the risk. This is one of the reasons why many platforms collapsed at the beginning of this bear market cycle, because they offered to their users some returns, but almost nobody, which is totally crazy, asked themselves how these rewards were generated. So basically, in many instances, the rewards were generating by finding another protocol offering higher returns, and the platform would earn from difference, but they didn't manage the risk. So when the platform with the biggest returns, collapsed, were lost the potential rewards and also the principal, and this is how the things started. There will always be a speculative aspect, especially for the new things, and this is created by design. I'm a marketer, so I know pretty well copywriting. The copywriting is known as the art of writing words that sell. Through written messages, through using certain keywords, you can trigger some emotions in the mind of the people who are looking at your messages, making them think that like there can't be a tomorrow for them if you don't do this, if you don't buy this, if you know. So this is not, this is like the kind of sword you mentioned is like a fire. You can use it to cook food, or you can use it to burn something, you know. And
yeah, exactly.
Not this domain not being regulated, of course, when such an opportunity is to do, I don't know, 50x, 100x, also most of the non-ethical people from other industries, they sensed the potential for a profit, and they use it at the max. So this will not disappear. There will be the speculative side, and the only way you can you can calm it a little bit is through education. But I said the next big thing, the potential of putting, I don't know, $100 and buying a Lambo in few months will lure new people all the time. This will not be erased, but you have to put some thoughts besides doing any actions, like let's say putting all the money in a project which is presented like the next big thing and which could eat your life savings or something. Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah, I would like to end your part of the presentation with one thought, is that like if we are able to digitize assets and real estate and property around the world, then we should also keep in mind what it will do to the world, like because then we have like a level playing field in terms of accessibility of the market, meaning that property which is cheap on one hand of the world because of a lack of liquidity and a lack of capital will suddenly become equally valuable, like it is, for example, in Europe or in the United States. So that will have a huge long-term impact. We will definitely, we are not there yet. We're talking about 10, 20, 30 years, I think. But the long-term impact will be super interesting to witness, I think. I would like to thank you for your, sorry, yeah?
Just as a closing thought regarding this, the tokenization of the real estate assets will lower the barrier of entry for players in this space, because it will allow anybody actually to start their journey on a property ladder through tokenizing a property which could be anywhere in the world, and this is huge. I want to also thank you very much for inviting me. Will be my pleasure to come back anytime in the future. And again, I want to congratulate you for investing time in resources and to educating the market. It's a very important mission.
It's our pleasure, and I really like to do it as well. I just from a super egoistic perspective, I just like to hear stories from great entrepreneurs that I now have in webinar. So it's for me also super nice to do. Thank you very much, Adrian.
Thank you.
I would like to ask Harry to take the stage. Harry and I also know each other for a few years. I think we also met initially in 2018 in the bear market. So I was building a decentralized mobility platform, which eventually I had to pull the plug. Too bad. I think we're a bit ahead of the time at that moment. But Harry and I already had super interesting conversations, and Harry is now paving the way forward. So the floor is yours, Harry.
Yes, thank you very much. So let's, I think I'm sharing the chats here. So let's get rid of this, put it to the side. Boom. Yes, so thanks for the short intro. So you already said it, we met a few years back, and that brings me straight to the intro. We met when I was working for Daimler Financial Services. Then they were called Daimler Mobility, and now they're part of Mercedes-Benz Mobility. And I was heading the Daimler Mobility blockchain factory, which I had founded. And Jochem had a very promising startup in the area which we were working on, actually. So decentralizing mobility. So that's how I got to know you. And a few years after I met you, or 1 year after I met you, what the Daimler Mobility blockchain factory had been building, which is, again, somewhat not very sexily called the Daimler Mobility blockchain platform, but at least you can Google it and it'll give you a lot of info. We took this in a spin-off. We had built the platform production ready. We took it out in a spin-off. We did a management buyout in full agreement with Daimler and in partnership with Daimler, but without shareholding of Daimler. We bought it out, so pure and nice management buyout. The software is ours. We went into Outlier Venture, which is, in my personal opinion, the accelerator in the area of Web3, at least in Europe. Yeah, and we actually launched our own token last year. It's the day after tomorrow. The little token baby is 1 year old, BLXM. And we're decentralizing power and mobility. And as part of doing that, you have to ask yourself, what is actually a business? And we're in the business of building a platform. So we are in a B2B2X business, where B2X could be B2C, but business to customer, B2G, business to governments, B2E, business to employer. And we provide a shared platform based on Web3 protocols, based on decentralized identifiers. And so we are always the B2B in the B2B2X. And so we build a common shared platform, leveraging exactly not only the technology, but actually the principles behind blockchain and decentralized identifiers. So what you need to do in order to process ownership, asset tokenization, and also ticketing, it's actually quite simple in what you need to do. You need to manage identification. You need to manage verification of credentials, of ticket, of assets, etc. And you need to manage these verifications and identifications to the real world. So that is something that blockchain is quite weak in. So this is why we always combine blockchain plus DIDs, decentralized identifiers, sometimes called self-sovereign identifiers. It's a standard that's being currently worked on and standardized by the World Wide Web Consortium, the same people that have standardized HTTP and HTML. And the most important part in the usage of these decentralized identifiers are verifiable credentials. I'll be using that term a lot. And that allows you to express business relevant, legalizable, contractual facts. That's a very long word for you can cryptographically ensure, very similar to something like DocuSign, HelloSign, and DocSend. For instance, the title to a vehicle, which is a piece of ownership. You can also digitally express a certificate of origin in the renewable energy market, or any type of energy attribution certificate. But you can take it even further. You can use it for ticketing, and ticketing is anything that manages check-in and check-out based on verification of the identity, based on verification of the ticket credentials, and then at the end of it, based on paying out according to the billable units that were actually delivered and consumed. And if you think about what an NFT is, an NFT, the conclusion is, it is actually functionally equivalent and slightly superior to a verifiable credential. So anything you can do with a verifiable credential, anything that you can do, which might have done already in your practical world, when you sign a contract or when you sign a or when you buy a stock or whatever, anything you can do at that level is easily doable on a verifiable credential. And it's even better on an NFT, because an NFT at the end of the day, it expresses ownership, or to be precise, because of the legal issues, it expresses and manages possession perfectly. And we have taken that idea and centered our core platform around NFTicket as an engine, as a protocol, which we are developing. So it's these boring apes or PNPs or whatever, that was just a proof of concept. Everybody gets interested, everybody woke up, a lot of people piled in. But an NFT is actually a perfectly valid registry of ownership, because that's what the blockchain does with this token. And the beauty is, an NFT, if you look at it technically, it's a token, yes, because it's in your wallet, but actually what it is, it's the NFT smart contract, the ERC-721 or the ERC-1155, and that is nothing but a registry that manages all the attributes and most of all the owner for that NFT, because NFT is just a token with a serial number. That's the shortest and also complete way to describe what an NFT is. It is simply a token with a serial number. And the ERC-721 contract is the registry that manages that. Registry in the same way you have real estate registries, you have vehicle authorities, etc. Those are registries which manage ownership. Well, an ERC-721 contract is nothing but a registry for an NFT. And with something like NFTicket, you can extend the scope of that to express certificates I will be talking about, specifically renewable energy certificates, because that's two of our first partnerships that are emerging, but also vouchers, coupons, and very directly derived from that, tickets. So essentially what we're trying to build here, and it'll be launched in November, so we did a stealth. In stealth mode, we are already operating. We have empowered one company called NRverse to launch their offering on Decentraland, where we decarbonized, or they decarbonized with our technology, which they were processing on Decentraland. And the three pillars on which this technology is based is travel budgets, so coupons, membership cards that behave like collections, entry tickets, so think of Eventbrite on steroids, and certificates of ownership, where due to our past history and the way we entered this business opportunistically at the end of the day, which is usually the best way to start your business, in my opinion, is certificates of for energy attribute certificates, such as carbon offsets, such as renewable energy certificate, such as guarantees of origin. Note that we are an active validating member of the Energy Web Foundation. So we have a very strong exposure to that side of the world, basically sustainable energy. All right, so what NFTickets do is they become a cost ticket master. Think, I mean, all of you probably bought a concert ticket and bought a, I don't know, soccer match, football match ticket before. And what you usually have is the party you're buying it from is not the party that's holding the event. There's a ticket master in the middle, and NFTicket is a Web3 version, and therefore much more compact, much more efficient, much more scalable, and of course, much more decentralized, so a lot less middlemen. It's essentially a Web3 cryptofication of Ticketmaster. That's the shortest way to describe it. So these NFTickets can be easily, we coded it in a way, you have an API, you define your payload. Do you want, what type of attributes do you want in your ticket? How do you manage your credit? Do you have a reseller and a service provider, or is there only one entity involved in selling the tickets? And then you have the NFTicket master contract in the middle. One of the things which is very important here on purpose, we structured it in a way that each NFTicket or each NFT certificate is always, we take the payload, which ends up then in the metadata of the NFT, and which gets referenced where we package it on IPFS or on other data storages, which gets referenced to the external URL field of the NFT, we express the legalizable payload for the ticket, meaning who issued it, who is the holder, what's the service descriptors this ticket is valid for, or how many kilowatt hours in which region of wind, solar, or hydro of renewable energy certificate does this certificate hold, and who was it issued by. We first issue that as a verifiable credential where we use identities that have undergone KYC, know your customer, that have been authorized by a legitimate root authority, and create a verifiable credential. And that verifiable credential has two big advantages. It is very close to the world of business. So a business person, anybody who understands a DocuSign document in which you agree to transfer the ownership from my vehicle to your vehicle. And in that contract, we say, this is the VIN of the vehicle, this is the title document number, my name is X, here's my signature, you, the recipient, holder in the parlance, is here, we both sign it, and then you transfer me the money, which is a very standard, normal business process in our everyday life. VCs follow that paradigm. So they match that very well, which makes it easy to legalize them and to get them regulatory approval, which is one of the reasons why in the EU and in Germany, there's a lot of policy makers and a lot of policy projects and a lot of big organizations that are now drifting to DIDs and verifiable credentials, and that they are entering the crypto world through that, rather than blockchain and NFTs, which to big corporates and to policymakers is a little bit of the Wild West, and they tend to have a little bit of fear of the unknown when it comes to this wild crypto stuff, whereas Again?
Sorry to interrupt, Harry, but how do you deal with merging these two worlds? Because you have been like really in both worlds for a long time. So on one hand, you have a corporate history, Web3 space, processes, and how do you try to find?
So, okay, first, because I was hearing you not very well. Am I being heard clearly?
Yes, I heard you clearly. Maybe you can continue your presentation, please.
Okay, yes. So the answer is, and this is exactly what the short answer is, it's with this protocol that we mix it. Because I'll jump forward now, I'll jump back later. So here, what you see here, look on the right-hand side, that's the more difficult to understand. On the right-hand side, you have a verifiable credential, which is issued with the subject is, it's an NR-verse, that's our partner, renewable energy certificates, which includes a solar and a wind onshore certificate, the solar coming from Africa, the wind onshore coming from continental Europe, and the volumes are 13,123 watt hours of solar Africa and 17,323 watt hours wind onshore continental Europe. And here you got subject, issuer, and below it you would have the signature. This is a verifiable credential. We use this verifiable credential programmatically to generate the NFT, which you see here. And the NFT, as you can see, this is OpenSea. So this is completely standardized. We're using Web3 eBay, which I consider OpenSea to be. So we're using OpenSea as the marketplace. And you can see here in the properties, which are displayed by OpenSea, you will find the 13,123 Africa, and you will find continental Europe, 1,733 watt hours, wind, solar. You will find the content of the verified credentials reflected in the attributes of the NFT. And what's even more beautiful, when you go on OpenSea, you have this little magic button here, which is the external URL encapsulated in the metadata. This will take you straight to the original verifiable credential. So this is basically a two instances of the same contractual or legalizable document. And what we do from the protocol level, We make sure that we issue originally this. Then on any of the chains, this can run. We are going live on 5 chains, all of them EVM compatible. That's why it's so easy. And we basically mint this NFT. And on the verifiable credential word, we do something, and that's part of the protocol. We revoke the verified credential itself, so there's no double selling possible. If you wouldn't do that, you could do double selling. So then it becomes an NFT, which makes it very easily to be transferred. You're now in the crypto world. You can trade it, you can collect it, you can transfer it, you can buy it, you can sell it, you can use it as a profile picture, obviously. So that is what it does then. And the protocol then, it becomes a layer 0 protocol, actually, kind of, again, just by the way, because we have, obviously, if we can generate the NFT from the verifiable credentials, which for us is the deserialization, we can also serialize it again. So we take the NFT, we serialize it back into the verifiable credential, and we burn the NFT, which then it becomes the verifiable credential, which is valid again, which you then either use in your business world, or you take it to another chain. This is not a bridge. This is stronger. This is a layer 0. So, and you instantiate it, you deserialize it again on, let's say, Celo. So you've originally minted it. You've created it as a verifiable credential, deserialized it onto Polygon. Then you prefer, okay, this NFT, I would actually prefer trading on Celo. So you transform it back into verifiable credential. You're back in the business-friendly world if you want to take it to lawyers, etc. Or you can then take that very same verifiable credential and take it to Celo and create a Celo-based NFT that will exactly have the same properties, and there will always be an unbroken chain of custody, unbroken chain of ownership, which is verified by the protocol that manages that. So that's the answer how you combine it. That's exactly the core of this protocol, is to combine those two worlds to make the best out of them.
Super interesting, Hardy. I have a question from one of the people attending. So a good question, and probably you've heard it before. GDPR, how do we deal with privacy when everything is on chain?
I have to say, this is a question I've heard really, really often. I do not really understand the question, because obviously GDPR is GDPR, and anybody who is in the blockchain world knows how to basically deal with it. There is something called hashes. Most people do not store data on the blockchain. Most people store data on something like IPFS or Arweave, and then only have a link in the hash or a signature, depending on what your security requirements are, have a hash or a signature on the blockchain. So for me personally, this whole GDPR discussion in blockchain is simply a red herring, because anybody who knows their job in blockchain has taken care of that. It's a non-topic.
What happens is
it's easy to do. GDPR is GDPR, because whether you use blockchain or verifiable credential doesn't change anything. The requirements are GDPR, and blockchain is just a technical platform. And what you do is you obviously don't put clear names on the blockchain, you put hashes on the blockchain. That's the simple mechanism. And there's infinite variations of it, but it actually answers the question.
Yeah, so the idea behind it is that you chop up a chicken as far as a chicken nugget, but you can never make a chicken out of it again.
Exactly.
Right? So it will never become that again. The thing where it's Web3 and Web 2 conflict, right? There's a one thing that you can never do, and that's actually delete the data. But then your argument is, of course, the data has never really been there. So it's also a discussion between the philosophy of two worlds, which is just difficult to. It's a difficult discussion, I think, to have. But a good question. I have one question regarding the stealth implementation, Harry. Can you share a little bit details on what you guys did?
Yes, this is pretty much it. So this is part of this stealth implementation. So NRverse, the company that you see here in the naming, they come from the energy sector. So the founders come from the Elia Group and 50 Hertz, and so that's their background. So they know how to source renewable energy certificates. They know where to get them, and they know how to apply them. And then what we did is they sourced these renewable energy certificates from an organization called EcoZ. They're one of the players in that sector. We set up the chain of custody so that we equipped EcoZ with first a wallet, the MetaMask wallet, anyway, an Ethereum wallet, actually a Polygon wallet to be precise. So we equipped them with a Polygon wallet. From that Polygon wallet, we created a DID. So you can derive based on something called DID Ethereum. So the Ethereum framework for decentralized identifiers, which is also active on Polygon, allows you to take a wallet and to establish a one-to-one forward and backward connection between that wallet and that DID. We do that, we generate that DID, at which point they become an identified party. And once, in this case, once you put that DID on an HTTPS website belonging to the company, you do in a still not 100% perfect way, but you establish a chain of custody where what you're saying is the company that is owning the HTTPS, so they did get the certificate, so you're not being man in the middle, so that is owning the domain ecoz.com is publishing this DID as the DID they will be issuing credentials with. Based on that, they issue credentials transferring bulk, this is not bulk, this is retail, transferring bulk volumes of these renewable energy certificates to NRverse, who now has bulk volumes of these, which through our protocol, they fractionalize. So and the fractionalization use case was a decentralized event where they wanted, it was still before the merge, 30th of August, so where they wanted to show, all right, we can calculate the carbon emission load of the Ethereum transactions by region, by the way. There's something called, there's a calculator by a guy called McDonald, which provides the basis for this. So we can calculate how much carbon offset you need to make this carbon neutral. That's their secret sauce. They come from that industry. And based on that, the ticket for this event was issued as an NF ticket. And you needed to bring with you these amounts of watt hours carbon offsetting in order to be allowed into the event. So it is basically a way for event organizers to go ahead and say, I'm holding an event, but I want to make sure that it's being carbon offset by the people that attend the event. So not only does the ticket have a number of credits and it has the price for the event, $10 with 1 credit or whatever, but it also requires to be validated. For the verification of it, it requires you to bring an amount of renewable energy larger or equal to this. So that was essentially the stealth application of it. And in the meantime, we're working on the core engine to make this applicable to a much wider range of products. And the other part where we're using it for is actually the mobility industry. We're going live in Nigeria with our mobility. There, the core engine, the transaction framework, issue the ticket, validate the ticket, take the credit, give it to the driver, etc., etc. All of that is based on the very same NF ticket protocol.
Yeah, there are so many areas in the world where this technology can leapfrog these areas. And the cool thing with NFTs and blockchain maybe in general is that the implementation can be so low tech that it's at the moment it can be super easy to implement. I would like to wrap your part up for now, Harry. It's getting dark here, but I want to conclude as well with one takeaway that I remember from the early part of your presentation is that NFTs are more than pictures, right? And for me, the cool thing with NFTs is, and that's also what triggered me to organize the event, is that first of all, I see so many people just still building and building and building ecosystems around NFTs. So that's really, really nice. And secondly is that we have to keep in mind that for the first time we have now a digital asset that has like a clear ownership, but also can have its own fully independent business models. So that's God will know where it will take us, but it's going to be super interesting to see. So thank you again for the presentation, Harry, and let's catch up soon. I would like to go back to Leah for now.
Yeah, thank you so much, Shahom. Thank you, everyone, and thank you for our honorable speakers. That's it. We've got you for here today, and thank you very much to all our attendees and speakers. We appreciate your signing in and hope you gain insights and learn a lot from this webinar. Within the next few days, we will share a recording of this event in case you want to send it to your colleagues or friends who have not been able to join. Thank you again for joining us today, and we wish you a great day ahead. See you next time.
Thank you, Ayush.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you very much for inviting. Thank you. Bye.
Thank you.